fiber friends. It's Cindy from Ewenique Fleece coming at you today. I wanted to talk to you a little bit about something that's been a real interesting study journey for me. Last winter I started really missing warm, lightweight, colorful things that I could wear, and I got the brainstorm that I should really be creating yarn to suit the purposes of what I'm looking to wear in those dark, cold winter months. There seems to be no shortage of black and gray, but I really enjoy colors, as you can tell. So to that end, I started creating yarn around a project that I would like to wear in the wintertime. So the first one I want to talk to you today is called Slice. And this has such a great construction. You start from the arm and you work your way up, and then you do the front and the back at the same time to this seam here. I don't know if you can see that, but the seam goes down the middle of the front and the back, and you join them together, and then you add the bottom ribbing and the neck ribbing. So I love the construction of this. It's easy, it's interesting enough that I don't get bored with it, but it's not so complicated that I can't have a conversation or watch TV while I'm knitting. And since most of my time is spent with my family in the family room knitting, I like projects like that. So what I did was I looked at the total amount of yarn that the pattern called for, and I figured out, based on what I had in my stash, I had a lot of this dark blue acrylic that I got from RH Lindsay. And I know some of you are purists and you don't like knitting with acrylic, but for me, I like a mix of fibers. I like to mix wool. I like wool as a base fiber. It is definitely my favorite thing to spin, but not necessarily always my favorite thing to wear. I really like a lot of the characteristics of some of the newer acrylic yarns, especially when I'm making my own blend. So I was really glad to find this. And the last time I was on the RH Lindsay website, which today is February 7th, 2022, I think I was on about a month ago, and they still had a ton of this dark blue acrylic. And you can see it's very soft, and it's not super finely crimped, but it's soft and it has a nice sheen to it, and it's got like a very purpley undertone. Really, really very versatile and pretty. So I knew I wanted this to be the bulk of my sweater body, and I wanted it to be tweedy, and I love the look of navy and turquoise together. So I knew that turquoise on its own could really pop, even if it was blended with the blue. So I decided to use some wool merino that I had, and I dyed it in my basement where I have all my dye stuff set up. So you can see that's just, it's just roving that I dyed turquoise. And then I also added in, for a little bit of shine and a little bit of color dimension, some bamboo that I dyed bright green. And if any of you are dyers, you know that the colors lighten up once they're dry. So I was a little surprised at how light this was, but I still used it anyway. I like the way it came out in the end result. So the percentages I used were, I wanted 80% of the blend to be the acrylic. So if I needed 25 total ounces for the sweater, I calculated what 80% of 25 ounces would be, and 20 ounces would be the acrylic. So each time I measured out the amount for each bat that I put on the drum carder, I used those proportions. So it's 20 ounces of the acrylic, 3.75 ounces of the wool, and then 1.25 ounces of bamboo. So those were the gross totals that I started out with, and I needed to know how many ounces of wool and bamboo I needed to dye. But then I used the 80, 15, and 5 percentages when I was weighing it on my kitchen scale every time I blended a bat to spin. Now at first, I thought I was going to make a 2-ply yarn, and I was going to double blend one bat and single blend the other bat, and then ply them together after I spun them. I did not like the way that looked. I thought for me it was a tweedy enough effect to leave them after just one, and I top load my bats on the drum carder. I just feed it straight from the top, and I really liked the way each of those looked after they were spun, so I just left them alone. Another thing I learned in the process of doing this was I made neps to add in, and I just took Patton's worsted weight yarn, and I dyed a couple of yards of it, different colors, and then I took those dyed pieces, and with my rotary cutter and my rotary cutting mat, I don't know if any of you are sewers, but if you have a rotary cutting mat, it was real easy. I just held it down with a ruler and until I got these neps. Now, if I were to do this again, I would make the neps much smaller, because these neps, when I spin it, half of them fall out. I find them all over my living room floor. So I would make the neps smaller. And I put these in, I sort of sandwich them in when I'm blending the bat. So I'll do a layer of wool, a little bit of bamboo, then some acrylic, then some neps, then some more wool, bamboo, more acrylic, so that they're sandwiched in there. They still fall out, but you can see as I did the final, you know, here's my final product. Plenty of the neps stayed in there, and you can see in the sweater, and it's in progress right now. I'm in the process of doing the front and back, and I haven't worked on this in a while, but so you can see here's the arm, and this detailing here, which I love, is just simply knitting into the stitch below, and it gives it this nice textural feature where it's not just non-stop garter stitch. It's kind of breaks it up, and so I'm real happy with how this is coming out. It's going to be a very comfortable sweater to wear, and it's been very nice to knit. Like I said, the pattern is, I love the construction. It's an unusual construction for me. I either usually do top down or bottom up sweaters, so this was interesting for me to do, and I may even make it again, but with a striped yarn, since the stripes will go horizontally, I mean vertically, not horizontally. So that's a nice option as well. And I got the pattern on Ravelry. Again, it's called Slice, and I wound up buying several of her patterns when I found this one, because they all just they're very wearable. They have unique construction elements that make them fun to knit, and they really met what I was looking for as far as sweaters that I can wear in those cold winter months to keep me toasty. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed the video. Let me know if you have any questions. Drop it in the comments below. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I will see you on the next video. Thanks a bunch.